History. From ancient Greece to World War II. Inspired a lot of video games, no doubt. There's one thing that annoys me though. Fanatics or idiots that talk about history. Why does annoy me? Well, that's because when patriotic Greeks talk about Turks, they say most of the time, weren't the Turks the ones that did genocide against everyone? So what's the point in trusting them? The reason why that annoyed me is because they think that every Turk is like history taught them. Well, if Greeks are how history is taught, then I'm crazy said because Alexander the Great killed every Persian that opposed him, or even worse, because Basilius the Bulgar Slayer defeated the Bulgarians at Battle of Clydon, and then he took the eyes of all his prisoners except one. Do Greeks sound peaceful now? Oh, what? What's that? Do I know it? Well, they are confused, patriotic Greek. Weren't you the one that said don't trust Turk because they actually no, not even they did it. It wasn't them. It was their ancestors, not them. And I hope we, not we, those patriots learn that because it belonged to you. It doesn't mean that it belongs to you now because you lost it. And speaking about Constantinople and all of that, we lost it fair and square. The Turks beat us fair and square, and we couldn't even beat them while they were in a civil war, while they lost a world war. We just couldn't beat them like that. And we are superior to the Turks, at least that was the Greeks saying, the patriots, and it's completely idiotic. I just don't see how Istanbul belongs to Greece. Another thing that I hate is how they teach us history. I just hate it. We're completely gonna skip the Renaissance. We're gonna say two stuff about the Enlightenment. We're gonna say two stuff about the American Revolution and the Napoleonic era, and then we're gonna write every detail about the Greek War of Independence. We're gonna write a lot of detail for what happened in the Victorian era in Greece, even though it wasn't that interesting. Just say something interesting, not, oh yeah, Greece during the Victorian era had a really bad economy, they tried to fix it, they kept trying. You know that Great Britain was doing interesting stuff, do you? Oh, you didn't? Oh, you might learn some history. No, not from the history books. The history books is want you to know what your country thinks about the periods that have actually historical periods that happen in your country. And it annoyed me because in the history lesson, if I ask someone about the Renaissance and the 30 Year War and Protestant Reformation, they will not know anything. And they think themselves good in history just because they know Greek history. That's completely idiotic. I just don't understand how you're good in history if you only know your country's history. And speaking about history, if I ask someone about World War II, they will say, oh yeah, World War II started by Germany, France capitulated, and then the Americans came and saved us, because that's literally what the history book that's literally what the history book says. And that's completely idiotic. I just don't understand how the Americans saved us. Well, saved them because it didn't save me, it saved my ancestors during World War II. I just don't see how that's logical. Especially that the Soviet Union was marching on Berlin and D-Day just happened and people call D-Day important, quote unquote. It was important for the future of Europe if we are telling about communist Europe and all of that. But in World War II it wasn't that important, and it's another thing that I want to tell. People that talk about history, they're having a chat just for what, and they're like, oh yeah, do you know about the Battle of Kursk? You know how important was it? And the other guy says, nah, I prefer the Battle of Boston because it was more important in history. the thing you said was bullshit. They're gonna fight it out. What battle was more important? That annoys me. It just, what's the point? Why didn't you hear about what happened? And just so you know, Battle of Course was more important than D-Day and the Battle of Bastogne or the Siege of Bastogne. Just people just stop fighting about what battle is more important. Think what will happen if that battle didn't happen. And don't say something like, well, if D-Day failed, the Germans were gonna rule Europe, because no. The Russians were marching on Berlin, and if that marched to Berlin, then it means that the German army, the Wehrmacht, just couldn't stop them. And that means that the German Empire was losing. So if that didn't happen, you must think further out, like what would happen if Russia dominated Europe? Not think, oh, Germany will have won World War II. It's just idiotic. I hope you like the new way I'm doing videos. It's learning to speak more freely without any hesitance. I'm thinking about making this humanity thing to a series, quote unquote, and let's not mistake it with a human body.